Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Two Brain Cell Sports Podcast. I am your host, Darren Funk, and across from me is Nathaniel Ati, the co-host. This is the podcast where we're just going to talk about sports of any kind. We have no specific requirements. We're just going to talk and see where it leads us. So, Nathaniel, you mentioned you wanted to talk about the NBA play-in games. You got anything to say about that?
So we had the first round of the play games, right?
Yeah.
And we had the Nets beat the Cavs. And then we have the Timberwolves beat the Clippers.
So one thing I did see about all that, at all the home teams won.
Yes.
Nobody went on the road and won.
Yeah. The Hawks beat the Hornets by a lot. The Pelicans beat the Spurs. So the Nets and Timberwolves made it into the playoffs. And now the Hawks and Cavs are playing tonight. And the Pelicans and Clippers are playing tonight.
Okay. One thing that I have to say, the play-in is a relatively new concept. I believe they started it when they did the bubble back in 2020. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right.
Do you have any thoughts on the play-ins? Do you wish they had them? Are you glad they have them? Do you think it's a broken concept because it allows teams that maybe don't deserve to be in the playoffs
I love it. I hate the idea of having series. Because it's just boring. You need more elimination games for the playoffs. Make it exciting. And every game in the play-in or is almost an elimination game.
Okay. So do you like the concept of the 7 and 8 seed play each other and the loser then plays the winner of the 9 and 10 seed? Or did you wish it was more of a bracket format? Do you, to make things more clear, do you like that if you're a 7 or 8 seed, you have 2 chances to make it in rather than the 9 and 10 seeds, they have to win 2 straight games?
Yeah. I think that 7-8 having a better chance of winning those two because they have 2 chances is good because you gotta give them some advantage. You know what I mean?
Basically, almost congratulating them for doing better in the regular season in a way.
Yeah.
Okay. To make things clear, I'm not too wise on NBA, especially when the playoffs come around. Are these all best of 7 series or do they start out best of 5? You're giving me wide eyes right there. I take it you do not know that one.
I'm not sure.
Looking ahead, it's saying that they have games 6 and 7s if necessary. So these are best of 7. I know MLB, they have best of 5 and you get more elimination games like that. Do you like the best of 7 throughout the entire NBA playoffs?
No.
Why not?
Because the best team is going to win anyway, right?
Okay.
If you're the number 1 seed, you're most likely going to beat the number 8 seed, right?
Yes.
So they're just prolonging what's going to happen.
They're just
making more games. Yeah. Which is less interesting for, the first however many games. Maybe the 8th seed will take game 1 or something, and that's about it.
the 8 seed takes game 1, and then everybody kind of
Yeah,
shrugs and they still won't win it.
yeah. If
Meanwhile,
they
what
win a game,
what you're saying with the MLB is with the best of 5 is all you have to do is win 3. So maybe the lower seed can still win 2 games, and it's pushing it to the 5-game series. Is that what you're trying to say here? I don't want to divert your words in any way.
I
Just
just
trying to
don't
get
like
your
the
thoughts.
series. I just don't like it. I like one and dones.
You're
But
more of
if
a March Madness guy.
yeah, but if it's the first round, make it a 5 game. If you're gonna make a series, make it shorter.
Just for the concept of it maybe gives
Yeah,
the lower seed a chance.
yeah,
More entertaining, more hope.
yeah.
Okay. No, I completely understand with that. I I mentioned the MLB playoffs when referring to the NBA playoffs. So we might as well just I don't think we have a lot to say. It's still early in this season, but I think it's good to note that the MLB season has started. You're wearing a Royals hat right now. You said they're 2-4. Um,
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get some teams in the playoffs that aren't usually in, but we still have a long ways to go. And in this season, a lot can happen. Injuries are big. Teams can get on a roll. Some teams can just die off. Um, so we'll just keep everybody updated on MLB. There's not too much to talk about early on. There's been some drama here and there, but overall, in the large concept of things, there's not too much. Meanwhile, even though there's not much to talk about in the MLB with the season going, the NFL is not in season, but we're still getting some storylines. And I know you mentioned to me about a storyline yesterday. Do you want to go into that at all?
I'm actually gonna talk about something different. So,
Okay.
the Cardinals and Kyler Murray have not reached contract deal yet.
Okay.
Um,
What does that
and
mean?
so he's up for extension. He's in his what is it, third year?
Okay.
Third year, I think. And he still's got his 4th year, and they are going to pick up his 5th year option. And he wants a deal done before the season, and says that he most likely wouldn't play without a new contract right now.
So do you think a deal will get done with him, or is he gonna? I know he's gotten some MLB interest in the past. Will he jump to the major leagues, or will he try to just find a new team in the NFL? And if so, what team would be interested in him?
Um, I think that I don't know. He's a good enough quarterback, right? For a $40 million contract a year or something around there.
Okay.
Um, but the past 2 years he starts off great, then gets injured a bit and doesn't play as well. And then you have the durability. Will he last a whole NFL year? Can he make it to the playoffs and be healthy enough for the playoffs to play good? Which I don't know. We haven't seen it yet.
That is true. He got bounced in the wild card last year
Yeah, first
with the
ever
Rams.
playoff game, and
Yeah.
it was embarrassing. They got absolutely killed.
So
Um,
I just have to put on this note, is that a Kyler Murray incident or is that a Cliff Kingsbury incident? Because for me, going back to Cliff Kingsbury came from Texas Tech, where he was actually fired before he somehow got the coaching job at the Cardinals. But they would start off the season strong. I remember Texas Tech, they would start off strong, be in the top 25, and then they would die off at the latter part of the year. So is this more of a Kyler Murray problem, or is this Cliff Kingsbury that's actually the real problem? And he can't finish out seasons, especially the longer seasons of the NFL.
I think it's both because he hasn't proved Cliff hasn't proved that he can, go for a season without having a collapse midway through, and Kyler hasn't shown to make it through an entire NFL season, and he's missed. They're paying a backup quarterback a decent amount of money because Murray does miss games and isn't reliable for an entire year so far.
Okay.
So,
what do you have any clue what Kyler Murray is wanting in his contract? You mentioned 40 million. I don't know if you just pulled that number out of anywhere. I just didn't know if you had that thought.
So Derek Carr signed a contract extension. And I think it was 40 million. So with all the new contracts going out to quarterbacks and, Deshaun getting 230 million guaranteed, he wants a lot.
Okay. Long term and possibly asking more than what Derek Carr just got?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Do you think Derek Carr deserves to be the fourth highest paid quarterback or player in the NFL?
I think it's quarterback. Right now, no. But seeing how everything breaks down and goes, he won't be for long.
What do you mean by
that? We haven't had a Lamar Jackson contract yet.
Okay.
Justin Herbert's gonna get a contract. Baker might get a contract. Might be more, more than what Carr gets. I think with him being kind of getting on the contracts first is setting up for the younger players to have an even bigger contract will push him down the list. You know what I mean? So right now he's the fourth highest paid quarterback, but in like a year or so, he's going to get pushed down to where he should be.
Okay. So you think he just got the money now while he could? And the other quarterbacks who are better than him in your eyes, in most of the world's eyes, will come up and be asking more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he got a 3-year deal. Average salary is 40 million. So that's where I'm pulling the 40 from, is average.
Okay. So quarterbacks, they're a hot topic in NFL, especially the offseason, at least this season. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But one big quarterback talk right now is Tom Brady, who he entered retirement, and then a month later, he said he was coming back. But within that month, apparently something was being discussed about with the Miami Dolphins. Do you wanna enlighten us with that? You have more details than me on this.
So Tom Brady was going fake retirement to become part owner of the Dolphins, and the quarterback for them, and he was going to have Sean Payton come down to Miami to be the head coach, and the whole reason that it didn't even happen, like it hasn't happened or probably won't this year, is Brian Flores' lawsuit um, on the Dolphins.
For anybody who does not know, what is Brian Flores' lawsuit?
He is filing a lawsuit against the NFL and against discrimination.
Okay.
He felt like he didn't get a fair shot in interviews for head coaching process, and the owner of the Dolphins was trying to get him to tamper with a quarterback, supposedly.
Okay.
And you know, it was trying to do all these things, tried to tank for for Tua
Mm-hmm.
and all. Yeah.
So do you hope Sean Payton goes to Miami? Do you hope Tom Brady goes to Miami? Is there a hope that they will join the AFC? Tom Brady will go back to the AFC, not alone back to the same division that Belichick is in. You'll have Belichick versus Brady 2 times a year then?
Yeah. I don't. After all this coming out, there's no chance it happens.
Okay.
I just don't think it will happen after everyone finding out of what might have happened. I don't want it to happen. I like Mike McDaniels. I like Tua, and I want to see Tua be somewhere where he is wanted. And I don't know if that's the Dolphins, but I do think Mike wants Tua as his quarterback right now.
Okay. And the Dolphins, we've discussed this before, but it was off the podcast. The Dolphins, they have a possible offensive explosion maybe coming out of this year. They've got Tua. I know people question his arm strength, but they've got Jalen Waddle
Yeah.
and Tyreek Hill. Plus can the Dolphins make a push for the playoffs with the Patriots and Bills in their division too?
I'm with the Dolphins. I'm concerned with how good that defense will be because with Brian Flores, they were really good at the end of the year because he created schemes and did things where he offenses haven't seen it like at all, right? Or very rarely. Like in that Ravens game, they blitzed the majority of the time. They went
Yeah.
after him and they stopped the screen plays that they were running. Can the staff that Mike McDaniels brings in, can he get that defense to play up to where they can?
Okay.
And where they've shown where they can play. And can he make Tua feel comfortable, right? And can he get the offense to be better than was the past 2 years with Tua?
Which I think that's their hope by signing Tyreek Hill. That should open up the secondary for maybe Jalen Waddle coming underneath. We'll just have to see with that. I guess your whole question is the defense and how well the defense will be.
Yeah. I question Tua's arm strength. So Tyreek Hill will open up the playbook to go downfield. But if he's not throwing that ball to where Tyreek can get it, and only Tyreek can, then defenses aren't going to respect that at all. And just going to go underneath until Tua can prove that he can make those throws.
Okay, so the Dolphins, they have a lot to prove.
Yeah, I'm questioned about that offensive line. So,
all right. But going back to the Brady incident here, just to help me think of what you were trying to say. They may have gotten the deal done in the future, but the fact that this information is now leaked out, Sean Payton, Tom Brady, they don't want to tarnish their legacy by now continuing to go after the Dolphins. And one thing, if I can ask, why the Dolphins?
I think Tom Brady wants to play Bill 2 times a year and beat Bill 2 times a year is what is how I feel about it. And I think he wants to be in Florida. I think he wants to be in Florida.
He doesn't want to go up and be at the Jets.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned there Tom Brady wants to play and beat Bill 2 times a year. Is this Tom Brady? He released a show. I can't think of the name right now, but it was going over each season. It came out. To me, it kind of felt like it was his attempt. You know, the Last Dance with Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like Tom Brady saw what Michael Jordan did and how they think Michael Jordan's the GOAT. But with Tom, he's always had that shadow of Bill, of people saying he was only good because of Bill. And that is one reason why he went to the Bucs. But the Buccaneers, do you think all of this stuff is Brady still thinks he has to prove himself and show that it was not Bill, and then it actually was just Brady being that good?
Yeah, of course.
Is this Brady just kind of being egotistical, might I say?
Yeah, he wants to prove even more because he already has proved that it wasn't Bill already. But then you can say, oh, he had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin,
yeah,
and all that in Tampa, and he got pretty much any player he wanted. And anywhere he goes, he's gonna get any player he wanted.
Of course, because he's proven his name for himself. Players want to play with him.
So there's always going to be that, like, well, can you do it with, guys like Nelson Aguilar that's catching the ball? You know what I mean? And he's proven he can't do that with that.
Okay. He's proven he can't win with mediocre guys. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you saw in his last year in New England. He didn't have any weapons that was any good. They were not good. They couldn't move the ball on offense. They had a great defense. That's the only reason they made the playoffs. They just weren't good offensively, and they couldn't move the ball. He just didn't have weapons.
So with you saying that, might I ask, was it Bill that made Brady Brady, or was this just Brady being Brady? If that makes any sense right there. Is Bill the complete mastermind, or is Brady that good? Or was it just a combination of both guys that just got the best out of each other, causing the Patriots to create the dynasty that they did?
I think it's so. Bill drafting him, I think, was the smartest decision Bill ever made, right?
Okay.
And then having and Bill, there's been stories of Bill each week when Tom was a rookie or so going through defensively and talking to Tom, and they're just talking back and forth about what they're doing and how to stop it. So I think Brady wouldn't be as good if Bill wasn't there.
Okay.
Um,
But okay. So Bill was like a father figure, and now Brady is stepping away, trying to get out of his father's shadow.
yeah,
Okay. Well, speaking of the dynasty of New England and Bill and Brady, do you want to get into our draft, or do you still have more you want to talk about?
we can do the draft.
All right. So for the listeners, we're about to do a draft over the greatest teams of all time. However, there is a twist where we can only pick one team from each decade. We got this idea off of John Boy. We better give him credit for that one. So what's going to happen is Nate or I can pick a team from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and then we combine the 2010s and 2020s together. And we can only pick one team from each decade. So once we pick a team from, let's say, the 80s, you can't go back and pick a team from the 80s. So if I pick a team from the 80s and then Nate picks a team from the 80s, you won't hear any more 80s teams, if that makes sense whatsoever. So with that being said, Nate, do you want to go first?
Yeah,
All right.
I think it's simple here. Number one picks, you gotta go with the 85 Bears.
You know what? I'll just say that right there. I had them number one on my 80s team. And I was really, they went 15-1 that year. I mean, it was Walter Payton on that team.
That's a defense.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping you wouldn't take that one, but you did. So with that, I think my choice needs to be the 72 Dolphins.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, 72 Dolphins. They went undefeated, and they're the only undefeated team in the history of the NFL. And
17-0.
yeah, 17-0. All right, you got your pick.
Mm. Let's go 2015 Panthers.
The Panthers. Okay.
15-1, Cam Newton.
Yeah. Can I ask why you chose them? They relatively choked in the Super Bowl on Peyton Manning's final game. Is there a reason you're picking them above?
Yeah. Denver was an option that year. They went 12-4. My problem was Peyton wasn't good that year. And Cam, that was his best year. He was special that year. And that's really it. I think
That was
yeah.
that was the year Cam Newton really globalized. What was it? The dab.
Mm-hmm.
He had all those touchdown celebrations, and it was just he put on a show for the fans.
He did.
So they finished 15-1, you said?
Yeah.
Well, that's a final
15,
record.
18-2, technically.
18-2.
17-2.
They lost one in the regular season.
Yeah. They went
They lost
15-1 in the regular season.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you've knocked out the 2010s/20s, and you've got the 80s out of the way. So I better be picking either the 90s or the early 2000s with that one. You just picked a team that didn't win the Super Bowl, and I'm going to have to pick the same here. I got to go with the 2007 New England Patriots. They went 16-0 in the regular season. They were one game away from going undefeated like the 72 Dolphins did, the infamous helmet catch, Eli Manning. I guess we both picked teams that lost to the Manning brothers in the Super Bowl right there. But do you have anything to say about the 2007 Patriots whatsoever?
No.
All right. We'll move on. I'm keeping record of our picks right now. If you need clarification of what has been taken or what you want to take, you got your
Where
next.
can I take?
So you have went with the 80s and the 2010s, so you can get the 60/70s,
Okay.
which I have already picked. You can get the 2000s, which I just picked, and neither one of us had picked the 90s.
All right. Well, this is simple. I'm going to go 62 Packers.
62 Packers.
Yep.
Who would you want to? I don't know too much about the Packers. You want to talk about them? Was it Joe Lombardi on that team?
Lombardi was the coach. I don't remember who the quarterback was. That was the first Super Bowl ever winners.
Okay. All right. So just
win 13-1 in the regular season versus the Chiefs. Beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, with that, I was debating between the 84 49ers and the 89 49ers. I might, everywhere I looked, said that the 84 49ers were better than the 89. The 89 did have, both teams had Joe Montana on it, but 89 had Jerry Rice. However, I think 84 would be the best option for me here. Like I said, I don't know too much about them. Maybe you can shed light on that. I don't know how much you know. It was a year before the 85 Bears. But yeah, there's my pick. So right now, you coming up, you've got the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the 99 Rams.
Oh, okay. All right. What is your reason for picking that?
It's the gray show on turf. They beat the Titans in the Super Bowl.
1 yard away from losing
by Nord. Yeah.
Yeah. They had Kurt Warner that year. Was he a rookie too?
I mean, he was old.
Yeah, but his NFL career was young.
I think that might have been his first year in the NFL. Or second. I don't remember. Would have been either or.
He started with a bang. Wow, that was a heartbreaker for me there. I was about to take them. So I'm going to audible there and go with the 2016 Patriots. They are infamous the 28-3 comeback in the Super Bowl. That, but I think what I found was they still went 16-2 that year. They were still a tough team to beat. It isn't like they were a 4 seed that hobbled into the Super Bowl. So with that being said, I'm picking the Patriots once again.
I have 2000s left, right?
Yes, you have the 2000s left.
This might be shocking since they didn't even win a playoff game. But I'm going to go with the 06 Chargers.
06 Chargers.
That
What entices you to pick the 06 Chargers?
14-2, Philip Rivers, LT, Antonio Gates, everything over there on the offense. Best year in franchise history. Great coach. His final year with the team, it just didn't win a playoff game, but that coach rarely ever won a playoff game. He was with the Chiefs. He didn't win many playoff games, and he was with the football team and didn't win many playoff games.
Okay, so who did they lose to in the playoffs that year? Was it the Colts?
It was the Patriots.
Was that the undefeated Patriots at the time? Or am I a year away?
What year was the Patriots undefeated season?
That was they were 2007. Yeah. That is my bad. So they lost to the Patriots in 2006. You threw me off guard on that one. So with my last pick, I have the 90s. And I'm going to go with the 91 Washington Redskins, now known as the Washington Commanders. This will be their first year as the Commanders. That was a team that went 14-2. They never trailed in the playoffs at any point in time. I believe they're the last Super Bowl champion to never trail in the playoffs. They beat the Buffalo Bills, which started the Bills' losing streak. It either started or it was their second loss. I am unsure on that, but we're going to go with the Redskins, now known as the Commanders. Would you like to know all of the picks now?
Yeah.
We can let our viewers decide who has the better picks for the viewers that we so far don't have. So Nate has picked the 62 Packers. That was the first Super Bowl champions. He picked the 85 Bears. They were just dominant on all sides of the ball. The 99 Rams, the greatest show on turf. The 06 Chargers, they had some studs on the team. However, they never won a playoff game that year. And then he picked the 2015 Panthers. Cam Newton had a lights out year. Got everybody really energized about the NFL at that point in time, but they did lose in the Super Bowl. Then I had the 72 Dolphins, first and only team ever to go undefeated. I had the 84 49ers, Joe Montana, the 91 Redskins. Just everywhere I saw, they seemed dominant. I didn't know too much about them. The 2007 Patriots, they were undefeated until the infamous helmet catch, losing to Eli Manning in the Super Bowl. And then the 2016 Patriots that came back from the 28-3 deficit against the Falcons. So for the draft, I think it went pretty well. I think we have some solid teams in there. Yeah, I'm satisfied with my picks. I believe you're satisfied with your picks. You picked two teams from me that I wish I had had.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have let you go first then, or should have just been more strategic with my picks. But yeah, I believe that will wrap up our podcast for today. Unless you got anything else you're wanting to say, anything else you want to get off your chest here?
No.
All righty then. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see you next time on the Two Brain Celled Sports podcast.